Good morning. It's Tom Padula from TomPadulaTV on YouTube and Insegna Booksellers. And today is the Sunday, the 4th of December, 2022. And I'm covering Purgatorio Canto 20 from the great works of Dante Alighieri, La Divina Commedia. And this is program number 59. We're moving on, and today, like any other Sunday, that when I do this particular presentation, it's a real challenge to read Dante Alighieri, but very enjoyable once you get into it. It's something that needs to be. That we need to remind ourselves that if we are of Italian background and we want to know about our culture here in Australia, then maybe going to do the work to the works of Dante Alighieri is a good start, and every family should have a set of the Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso. Because the books that I have contain a lot of notes relating to the 13th century and the early part of the 14th century. And Dante is a great representative of our culture worldwide, Italian culture worldwide. And it's up to us to encourage our children to access this material. Now, my presentations are very personal in a way because I read the Canto, prepare a little bit at the beginning. It's a first reading of Purgatorio for me, and really Dante's work is much more appealing to people in the Third Age because we've lived, and therefore we can undertake this sort of studies in our own time. Wonderful idea to be able to do it. And of course, people say, well, I don't speak Italian, of course. But there are translations as well of this particular work. And, in today's world, everything is possible. It's a question of us wanting to actually do it. So I need the interest, a bit of enthusiasm, commitment. It's a big job, this one, and I enjoy doing it very much, for me and for you too. So we're going to do Canto 20 today, and the main, we'll look into the summary and a bit of an analysis at the beginning. It's a canto that, in a way, brings us into the problems that, the powerful church, the Pope, had as time went on, as things improved socially, and, the challenge by the people of the institutions of the times began to appear. Okay, so instead of having just the Pope and the Pope and the Emperor, then the smaller kings came into play. The states, the formation of the states, the formation of smaller areas of land called nations under a king, under the king, or as it was in Italy too, they became comuni under municipal councils of the times. But Dante truly believed that the two big powers, the church and the emperor, should rule, because according to him, both came from God's guidance. He's saying you need a couple of people, a couple of rulers that represent me on earth. And that's the way he thought about it. After that, I will do a poem of mine from Amica Poesia. It's not a real poem, it's just this time it's Italo-Australian weddings, just a description of the way it was like in the 80s and the 90s, because things have changed there too. But during that time, I did Master of Ceremonies work, and I enjoyed it very much, and therefore some of the writings reflected that. And finally, the songs. Now, I've had problems with the songs. I've redone, I've looked at my, I've restarted the computer. Let's hope that I can actually, when I finish, that I won't have a problem. But in case I've got a problem there, I have my little phone there today, so I've worked things out. Okay, so let's start. And before that, I welcome anyone who comes on today when I actually do the work, and later on during the week when a lot of people come on to TomPadula on Facebook. Okay, so these works are recorded and they are available after I finish with them. Beautiful. Nothing like a good drink before we start, no? Okay. Here we go. Canto 20, Purgatorio. Contra miglior voler malpugna, onde contra il piacer mio per piacerli, trassi dell'acqua non sazia la spugna. So we start like that, but the reality is we need a bit of a hand with this by reading the summary. Okay? So, as Dante and Virgil continue climbing, that's Purgatorio, the Mount of Purgatorio, Dante hears a weeping voice calling out examples of poverty, greed's opposite. So the opposite of greed is when you are poor. In other words, you accept your fate of being poor, of living in as a humble person. Now, some of the examples, there was one of the souls was enumerating the examples of what, the opposite of avarice is in terms of the past. So one of the souls was saying, greed's opposite, such as Mary's humble dwellings after Christ's birth, in Natale, the crib. That's a representation of poverty, the opposite of avarice. Dante investigates the source of this voice and learns it's Hugh Capet. Who is he? He's an ancestor of the kings of France. Hugh laments his offspring's lust for earthly power and wealth. After him, they learned how to get to become kings of France and maintain their power, which was accompanied by much cruelty over centuries. So in order to acquire this wealth, this motivator, which is the greed, it's sort of the avarice, the idea of wanting more for yourself without worrying too much about other people. So this was, but you used all sorts of arms in order to achieve it. So if you had to do something wrong and it served your purpose, then you would do it. That's the motivator. The avarice is the motivator, which was accompanied by much cruelty over centuries. He prophesies that out of this line, Charles of Valois will betray Florence, and Charles' brother Philip the Fair will have Pope Boniface slain. Christ recaptured. That's the way it's sort of... After Dante and Virgil move on, Dante is alarmed when the entire mountain shakes violently. All the souls cry out to him, Gloria in excelsis Dei. That's what we put on our crib, and it should be, down the bottom of of our Christmas trees as well. Gloria in excelsis Dei. Dante is filled with wonder at this mystery. Okay, so there's another little note here relating to the analysis. Hugh Capet was the 10th century founder of the Capetian dynasty of France, which held great power across Europe until Dante's own day, while Pope Adrian provided an example of greed for spiritual power. Hugh Capet is an example of lust for earthly power and the devastation this creates. The two contemporary figures Dante identifies are of special note. Charles of Valois surrendered Florence to the Black Guelph party, resulting in Dante's own exile. And though Dante despised Pope Boniface VIII, he nevertheless views the papal slaying as a betrayal of Christ himself, due to Dante's respect for that office. So Pope Boniface VIII lost his life as a result of being against the emperor. Oh, well, that was a turn around in terms of the state, the emperor achieving more power for himself. Well, that's that. So that's that. It's an important, as I said, this is an important part of what I do now. So let's go to the actual words there, and let me see if I can manage the explanation as we go along. Contra miglior voler malpugna, onde contra il piacer mio, per piacerli, trassi dell'acqua non saggia la spugna. Mossimi e il duca mio si mosse per lì luoghi spediti pur lungo la roccia, come si va per muro stretto a merli, che la gente che fonde a goccia per gli occhi il mal che tutto il mondo occupa, dall'altra parte in fuor troppo s'approccia. Now these are hard lines, but we know that Dante always has a description of where they are, and they are in the circle around the mountain where the souls are on the floor and they're tied by hands and feet with their face down, because these souls were greedy. They suffered from the sin of avarice, and they committed all sorts of crimes, if you like, but not even crimes, just their way of wanting more and more for themselves. Therefore, they were willing to use arms and subjugate others in order to achieve their aim. So, contra miglior voler malpugna. So, al desiderio del poeta di continuare il discorso avviato con Adriano V si oppone l'altro desiderio della prosecuzione dell'opera di espiazione. So this note is a bit, I found another note that it describes it even better. It says, Dante wanted to speak to Pope Adrian about the situation he finds himself in, why he's in Purgatorio now, and the explanation is that he wanted the office of Pope, and was one view towards it. He did everything possible in order to achieve it. But once he achieved it, he was only there as Pope for 1 month, and he realized his mistake, and therefore he asked for God's forgiveness, and now he's expiating his sin in Purgatorio. Okay, so and Dante and Virgilio were walking along to avoid the souls. They were walking along, like in the castles of once, along the wall, in order to avoid falling on the other side in the abyss. But this was like a road filled with souls. Okay, and che la gente fonda a goccia. So there we are. That's the first part. Maladatta sei tu, antica lupa. So Dante says antica lupa is the avarice. The lupa, the she-wolf, is a symbol of avarice. because, you know, when la lupa wants something, they really are very cruel. They go for it in a big way. And it's a representative of the church power at the time. Maledetta sia tu, antica lupa, che più che tutte le altre bestie hai preda per la tua fame senza fine cupa. Oh, it's la tua fame, the desire for earthly power, and without considering the hurt that you cause to society. O cielo, nel cui girar par che si creda le condizioni di qua già trasmutarsi quando verrà per cui questa disceda. Oh God, you know, when are you going to come and get rid of this avarice? That'll be in the giudizio universale, of course. Noi andavamo con passi lenti e scarsi, so they were walking slowly, e io attento all'ombra e chi sentia pietosamente piangere e lagnarsi, e per ventura udì. And he heard one of the souls piangendo, you know, they were crying, and I said, oh, why didn't I realize, you know, there were so many examples of good people on earth that were not greedy like us, not looking for power. And there was this particular soul that was saying, Dolce Maria, per ventura udì, so he heard, Dolce Maria, la Madonna, because giving birth to the Son God in a stable. Pretty good, really. Dolce Maria, dinanzi a noi chiamar così nel pianto come fa donna per imparturir sia. So, you know, it's like she did. She cried. E seguitare, and then he followed. Povera fosti tanto quanto vedersi può per quello spigio dove esponesti il tuo portato santo. So, you know, it says, povera fosti tanto, so you were so poor, and yet you achieved so much by giving us the Son of God. Not bad. And then, of course, he didn't stop there. Seguentemente intesi, o buon Fabrizio, con povertà volesti anzi virtute, che gran ricchezza posseder con vizio. So this Fabrizio, udì dire, o valente Fabrizio, preferiresti avere la virtù nella povertà che grandi ricchezze con vizio. Sì? L'onestà di Fabrizio, che rifiutò i doni corruttori di Pirro, a king in ancient Rome, yes, it was, or ancient Greece, e visse in tale tanta povertà che alla morte dovesse essere sepolto a spese dello Stato. Era un luogo comune di tutte le raccolte di esempi morali che, sul modello dei testi scolastici della tarda latinità, il Medioevo, accolse nelle sue scuole, diffondendo altri testi simili ai componenti. In other words, these are some of the examples in history, the history that they knew in the Middle Ages, of the good deeds when people chose to be poor. You know, like St. Francis of Assisi is another one. He chose to be poor rather than display his avarice, his greedy, and lived in poverty. Don't forget, poverty, charity, and obedience are the three sisters, you know, that of the church, in terms of when some of the priests and monks and they take on the onerous career of spirituality within the church, but not everyone can achieve it, and some of them are very bad examples too in the church. So, but that's the idea. So, o buon Fabrizio, con povertà volesti anzi virtute, che gran ricchezza posseder con vizio. Queste parole m'erano sì piaciute, che io mi trassi oltre per aver contezza di quello spirito onde parean venute. So queste parole he liked to listen to this. This was very interesting. essa parlava ancora della larghezza che fece Niccolò alle pulcelle per condurre ad onor lor giovinezza. Now, this is another example. E adesso è piaciuto l'esempio della Vergine che fa. So this is the idea of what one should follow. All these examples that are coming to us. And this one, San Nicolò, is San Nicolò di Bari. He saved 3 young women from being given in prostitution by the father, who was selling them to somebody else for money. So San Nicola, and San Nicola is about this time we celebrate him in the lead up to Christmas. O anima che tanto ben favelle, dimmi chi fosti. So he says, I've heard all this. Now tell me, O soul, who are you? Dice, perché sola tu queste degne lode rinovelle. You are really, giving us a good examples of how to avoid avarice. Non fia senza mercé la tua parola, s'io ritorno a compiere lo cammino corto di quella vita che al termine vola. So tell us so that we can follow these examples, because life is very short. Di quella vita che al termine vola, life is a moment in time. Ed egli, io ti dirò, non per conforto che io attenda di là, ma perché tanta grazia in te, luce prima che sia morto. So I'm going to tell you, because you obviously have come to Purgatorio for a purpose. Io fui radice della mala pianta che la terra cristiana tutta addugia, sì che buon frutto rado se ne schianta. So he's describing himself. I am, the root of this particular pianta that has corrupted itself and is giving bad fruit in the end. Ma se doagio lilla guante bruggia, potesser tosto ne saria vendetta, e io la cheggio a lui che tutto giuggia. Ma se la città di Douai, Lilla, Guante Bruges, potessero farlo, presto avrebbe la vendetta, presto si abbatterebbe il castigo sulla mala pianta, ed io lo chiedo a Dio che tutto giudica. La città qui nominate, tutte delle Fiandre, sono un chiaro cenno della guerra che Filippo il Bello, alla fine del 200, condusse contro la contea della Fiandra. So, there are a lot of examples now of the various wars that were fought as a result of the greed of certain rulers of the time. Chiamato fui di là Ugo Ciappetta. Di me sono nati i Filippi e i Luigi, per cui novellamente Franciaretta. See, I am the father of, my name is Ugo Capet, Hugh Capet, the French king, the initial of a line of kings. And these children, Filippo and Luigi, they continued his work, but they did it not in a good way. They did it with cruelty. They achieved their purpose. Figliol fui io di un beccaio di Parigi. I was the son of beccaio, like a butcher or whatever. But it's not quite true, because in history, Hugh Capet was of noble birth. So, when you read the notes, you get the idea of what happened to these people, because Dante assumes that we are there with him in his times, and we know all about the political situation in Florence, in the areas surrounding Florence, in Italy, in France, in Europe in general. he assumes that. But, of course, we have to find out for ourselves. Figliol fu io d'un peccaio di Parigi. Quando li regi antichi vennero meno, tutti, fuor con renduto in panni bigi, trovammi stretto nelle mani il freno del governo del regno, e tanta possa di nuovo acquisto e sì d'amici pieno, che la corona vedova promossa la testa di mio figlio fu, dal quale cominciar di costor le sacrate ossa. So I found myself becoming king when the royal family before me came to an end, and I was anointed king, and then after me, because of that, because of my work, then my children were anointed as well. And so that's che la corona vedova promossa. So that's la corona, the crown vedova. They didn't have the rightful people before, but after Hugh Capet, his family, his children took over. Let's go on. Mentre che la gran dota provenzale al sangue mio non tolse la vergogna, poco valea ma pur non faceva male. Lì cominciò con forza e con menzogna la sua rapina, e poscia per ammenda Ponti e Normandia prese e Guascogna. So, this is the way they used to acquire more land by fighting the wars. Carlo venne in Italia, Carlo V, we talk about him often, e per ammenda vittime di Curradino. And Curradino, he killed the German, one of the German kings in order to achieve his aim. Vittime fu di Curradino, e poi ripinse al cielo Tommaso. Tommaso d'Aquino was also killed by this guy here. What did he do wrong, Tommaso d'Aquino? Huh? Per ammende, so he was so cruel that he achieved in life. They gave him whatever he wanted, because if they didn't, he would just kill them off. There's so much here. Ed assassino Carlo, so this is Corradino di Svezia, scese in Italia non per distribuire benedizione, ma per sottrarre il regno a Carlo, ed assassinò Carlo, e per Dante quando fa avvelenare nel 1274 San Tommaso d'Aquino, e non si preoccupa il poeta di accettare la verità. So some of the great studies of Dante, they sort of question him, because he says, "You're not telling us the full truth, Dante." There are, because they look up whatever he says and they check it out historically speaking. What do you do? What do you do? That's the beauty of Dante. Tempo veggio, non molto dopo, ancoi, che tragge un altro Carlo fuori di Francia per far conoscere meglio a sé e suoi. Sanzarme esce e solo con la lancia con la qual giostrò Giuda, e quella ponte sì che a Firenze fa scoppiare la pancia. Quindi non terra ma peccato e onta guadagnerà, per sé tante più grave quanto più lieve simil danno conta. So in other words, there was another Carlo came down, Carlo di Valois, inviato da Bonifacio VIII in Florence in order to get rid of the problems that were there between the Bianchi and Neri and bring some peace. And what this Carlo di Valois did, he went to Florence under pretext, and then he decided, you know what, to get rid of the Bianchi. Dante was part of the Bianchi, or the Guelph Bianchi, and gave the power to the Guelph Neri. And of course they took vengeance, and Dante was exiled as a result. So it's, this is real coming home to Dante. Quindi non terra ma peccato e onta guadagnerà, per sé tanto più grave quanto più lieve simile danno conta. This was a betrayal, and betrayal is a really bad sin, of course. L'altro, che già uscì prese di nave, veggio vender sua figlia e patteggiarne come fanno i corsari e le altre schiave. We're talking about San Nicola di Bari. he was in Turkey, and the son had three daughters, and of course, he wanted some money out of greed, and he sold his daughter. He was about to sell his daughters when San Nicola di Bari bought them and gave them freedom, of course, saved them from a life of prostitution. Oh, avarizia. Now, that's Dante says, what is the cause of all this? Why all these problems in the world? Where do these come from? They come from avarice. The 7 cardinal sins, this is the 5th one. Do you remember the first 4? Let me remember for you. The first one is pride. The second one is envy. The third one is ira, in other words, people who lose their temper. The fourth one is sloth, laziness. And this one is avarice. They're all pretty bad. Dante wants to get to the root of the problem. Why is it that we as humans suffer from these spiritual sicknesses? But is there a way out? And he says, yes, there is a way out, because you can use your reason, you can balance your life in order to avoid such avarice and the other cardinal sins, and live a good life in the name of God and in the pursuit of peace amongst humans, and you're trying to help them. So that's the sort of the general message of Purgatorio. O avarizia, che puoi tu più farne, poscia che il mio sangue a te si tratto, che non si cura della propria carne. So this avarice that's in us doesn't really look after the person in which the sin resides. So, vai contro la propria carne. Perché men paia il mal futuro il fatto veggio in alagna intrar lo fiordaliso e nel vicario suo Cristo esser catto. Veggiolo un'altra volta esser deriso, veggio rinovellar l'acete e il fiele e tra i vivi ladroni essere anciso. So Dante says, this betrayal, this killing of the Pope is an absolute, it's like killing Christ again, all over again. Doesn't matter whether Pope Boniface was a bad pope or whatever. He had the chair of Christ on earth. And he needs to be respected as such. He said, what did he get? He got punished. He got killed because of the greed of the emperor. Or the king of France in this case. Veggio il nuovo Pilato sì crudele che ciò ne ossaggia ma senza decreto portar nel tempio le cupide vele. Oh Signor mio, quanto sarò io lieto a veder la vendetta che nascosa fa dolce l'ira tua nel tuo segreto. Ciò che io diceva di quella unica sposa. So in other words, here, it's talking about this betrayal, this betrayal here, ciò che dopo aver detto schiera e il discorso l'ha portato a parlare, Ugo Capeto risponde alla seconda domanda di Dante e dice perché egli è il solo tra gli espianti a rinnovare il ricordo di azioni meritevoli di lode così precisa. So he's saying, I wanted to learn as a spiritual man who did the wrong thing as Pope. I was looking for ways in which to guide me as a shepherd, a spiritual shepherd, my sheep. What to tell them, and that's why I was referring to all those good examples of what people who live in poverty and are not avaricious can expect. And he was the only one in that circle. He was reminding the others of the possibility of being right in the eyes of the Lord. Okay? su quell'esempio, sugli altri esempi di povertà è responsorio a tutte le nostre preghiere per tutto il tempo che dura il giorno, ma quando giunge la notte, al posto degli esempi di povertà, prendiamo a recitare esempi di segno contrario. So, durante il giorno, when we have full reason, we can work it out. But the minute the night, darkness arrives in our brain, for some reason, we just go the wrong way. So these are all examples that Dante uses in order to make his point. Let me just go back here. I want to read a little bit here, back. Ciò che io dicea di quell'unica sposa dello Spirito Santo e che ti fece verso me velgio per alcun cosa, tanto è risposto a tutte le nostre prece quanto il dì dura, ma come el s'annotta, contrario suo, suon prendemmo in quella vece. So this one talking about the difference in our, in our makeup. When we have full reason, we can work it out and do the right thing. But when we lose it, when we give way to avarice, all our spirit s'annotta becomes night, like in the night. Darkness descends in us. Noi ripetiamo Pigmalion all'orta, cui traditore, ladro e parricida fece la voglia sua dell'oro inghiotta e la miseria dell'avare mida che seguì alla sua dimanda gorda, per la qual sempre convien che si rida. So these are other examples. Again, Mida, Pigmalione, this is from the Greek mythology. Del dolce accanto, ciascun poi si ricorda come furò le spoglie, sicché l'ira di Giosuè qui pare ancora la morda. Again, we go into the Hebrew land, the Hebrews of old. Some of the Indi accusiam col marito Saffira, lodiamo i calci che ebbero Eliodoro, e in infamia tutto il mondo gira. Polinestor che ancise Polidoro, ultimamente ci si grida Crasso, dilci che il sai di che sapore è l'oro. Di che sapore è l'oro. Isn't that beautiful? What taste is gold? If you all that, gold doesn't taste. If you only got gold, you'll die. Avarice makes you die. Di che sapore è l'oro? I'm going to use that. It's a good one. What taste is gold? So all these people here, Indi accusiam, all right? Safira ed il marito Anania, venduto un loro podere, anziché consegnare il ricavato alla comunità cristiana, come aveva stabilito con Piero, che ne tratto Eliodoro e mandato. So these are, you really do need, I haven't got time to explain it all, but the idea that all these examples here are examples of avarice in practice, of the good and bad, the ones that drive the sins relating, the cruelty that derives from greed, and the other one that uses reason and uses money, if you like, for good purposes. Talor parla l'un alto e l'altro basso, talor parla l'uno alto e l'altro basso. Secondo l'affezion che irci sprona, ora maggiore e ora minor passo. So this, it continues this discussion about the effect of avarice that it has in us. Però, al ben che il dici si ragiona, dianzi non era io sol, ma qui da presso non alzava la voce altra persona. No one else spoke up. Noi eravamo partiti già da esso e brigavamo di soverchiar la strada, tanto quanto al poder n'era permesso, quando io sentii come cosa che cada, tremar lo monte onde mi prese un giro, qual prende il suol colui che a morte vada. So all at once, whilst all this was going on, there was like an earthquake in Purgatorio. Tutto il mondo se sia abbrigando. Quando io sentì come cosa che cade, tremar lo monte. Onde mi prese un gelo, so I was really scared of it. Qual prendere il suol colui che a morte vada. It was just about, are we going to die here? We can't die, of course, he's in Purgatorio. But here, this is where, of course, Virgilio will calm him down. Certo non si scoteva sì forte d'elo, prima che la tona in lei facesse il nido a partorire i due occhi del cielo. Poi cominciò da tutti parti un grido tal che il maestro in verso meo si feo dicendo non dubbiar mentre io ti guido, gloria in excelsis tutti Deo. This shake up of the mount is just a reminder of people that divine justice comes like an earthquake. That's my own interpretation. Comes my own, and he says, this, they have to suffer. People who are penitent of avarice, they are not scared of this earthquake from heaven, because they can now say, Gloria, save us, oh God, from our own cupidigia, from our own avarice. Non dubbiar mentre io ti guido. So he says, don't doubt. Whilst I'm here, everything is fine. You were given to me to accompany you through hell and purgatorio. So as long as I'm here, you are safe, Dante, so don't worry about it. Just enjoy the earthquake. Oh dear. Gloria in excelsis tutti Deo, dicean. Everyone was saying, Gloria in excelsis Dei, Gloria in excelsis Dei. In other words, because they've been shook up by God. He said, listen, avarice is a bad thing. You're here to be punished. And then turn around and say, yeah, you're right. Beautiful. Per quello che io da vicino compresi, onde intenderlo grido si poteva. So I tried to understand questi gridi. Noi stavamo immobili sospesi come i pastori che prima udir quel canto finché il tremar cessò ed el compiesi. So they were immobili, they did not, sospesi, and they were like in a plant, they were suspended until the earthquake stopped. Che il tremar cessò ed el compiese, e si compì. In other words, it had done its job. Poi ripigliamo il nostro cammin santo, ripigliamo il nostro cammin santo, don't forget it's going further up and up and up towards the earthly paradise. After the circle of Gola and Lusuria. But we've still got another one or two for this avarice one. Guardando l'ombre che giacevano per terra, tornate già in su l'usato pianto. So the mount shook and we saw all these souls on the ground like before. Nulla ignoranza mai, and I'm going to show you that picture there. Nulla ignoranza mai con tanta guerra mi fe desideroso di sapere se la memoria mia in ciò non erra, quanta pareami allor pensando avere, né per la fretta di mandar peroso, né per me li potea cosa vedere, così mandava timido e pensoso. And he did not dare to actually ask for explanations in this at this time. So he remained timido e pensoso. Well, let's not forget, this is close to the top of Purgatorio. The job that the Guida, that Virgilio is doing, it's becoming secondary here in a way, and Dante becomes more and more in tune with what's going on, even though he still needs Virgilio's help to go through, for his journey through Purgatorio. And I'm going to show you the picture that I was talking about. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Here we are. That's it. That's after il tuono, that's what happened. And then they move on and they walk on. So this was the road that they were traveling with all these souls. Okay? So here we go. Well, that's it for, for number 20, really. Quante pare mi loro pensando avere, né per la fretta di mandar eroso, né per me li potea cosa vedere, così mandava timido e pensoso. So he says, oh, well, doesn't matter. These are the notes. I get stuck into this because, it's interesting. It's interesting. I want to know more, always more about what Dante is saying. Okay, let's go from Dante now to Matrimonio Italo-Australiano. I'll read it to you. This one here is from, I think I'll just read the Italian, because it's 12:10. And then I'll go to the songs, hoping that they'll work for me today. It's a bit of a challenge. All right, Matrimonio Italo-Australiano. This is from my book, Amica Poesia number 2, and I don't have many copies of this. I'm lucky that I've got a couple. Da quando sono arrivato in Australia nel marzo del 1963, ho partecipato spesso a dei matrimoni italo-australiani. Sono stato invitato, sono andato in chiesa, sono andato alle feste in sale o ristoranti, sia in città che nei paesi di campagna. Ho anche lavorato in cucina come assistente cuoco, poi in sala ricevimento come cameriere e capocameriere ed infine ho anche fatto il maestro di cerimonie per un quarto di secolo. Quello che più mi è piaciuto di tutte queste belle esperienze di fine settimana è stata l'atmosfera creatasi prima, durante e dopo la giornata di festa con familiari, parenti ed amici. Nel mio caso anche con quelli che lavoravano per gli invitati, per preparare e servire il pranzo e per organizzare la serata, seguendo un programma ben definito che non è poi cambiato tanto durante tutti questi anni, ma poi è cambiato dopo. Ok? La formula del matrimonio italo-australiano è riconoscibile dal fatto che le famiglie con parenti ed amici festeggiano la coppia appena unita in matrimonio e poi si divertono tanto con il pranzo, la musica, il ballo ed anche con le cerimonie del taglio del nastro, della torta e del brindisi con They Are a Jolly Good Couple e poi il ballo ufficiale che sia valzer o musica scelta dalla coppia. C'erano anche i telegrammi, la presentazione di mazzi di fiori e di regali a compare, comare, damigelli e cavalieri, paggetti e genitori, insomma nessuno viene tralasciato, o almeno così è stato per tanto tempo. Adesso con le seconde e terze generazioni di figli di emigranti italiani si comincia a vedere un approccio un po' diverso, a volte molto più semplice, a volte molto più stravagante. Però il principio di festeggiare il matrimonio è rimasto per una buona percentuale di coppie che si sposano. Per questo ho voluto includere in questo secondo volume di Amica Poesia qualcosa di diverso, ma con uno spirito atipico nella nostra vita qui in Australia. Il racconto poetico di un viaggio in macchina dalla città di Melbourne alla cittadina o paese del nord-ovest dello stato del Victoria, cioè Swan Hill. Quante volte mi ha chiamato lì il neodefunto Gio Maggio, personalità cordiale e socievole, per fare il maestro di cerimonia a tante coppie che si sposavano. Ricorderò sempre con affetto la sua accoglienza ed i suoi modi signorili del saper agire con tutti. Questo viaggio poetico lo dedico anche alla giovane nipote Maria che osservava il mio scrivere in macchina durante il viaggio mentre la mamma era in dormiveglia ed il papà guidava. This is a great memory for me. At 12:14, I suppose I could. Well, let me see. If I manage my songs, I want to do 3 songs. Let's see if I can manage that. Then we'll see what happens. Okay. All right. Now I have to hold on. You remember, I always have a problem with my computer lately, for some reason. But I think I've worked it out today. I'm not sure. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. So let me see if this works, because if it works, then it saves me a lot of trouble excusing myself with you people as well. So let's see. Here. Okay. I started with this last week. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Okay. There we are. Hey, let me go and have a look. That's where we are now. Okay, let me look whether in fact this is it. Yes, that was it. Okay, so we'll start from there. Okay, and we'll continue once. Oh, now I have. What's going on here? Yeah, here we go. Okay, so here we go. Let's see, let's hope that this works. It'll save me a lot of problems. Otherwise I have to use my, here we go. Well, another afternoon, and Dora's looking forward to it, and so am I. And Rena, of course, is waiting for us to start. No? No, this one here. This is the second set of 6 songs dedicated to Carosone, and that will be one whole program dedicated to Carosone in Coro all'Improviso. So there'll be 12 songs, and we dedicate this particular program of Coro all'Improviso to Angelo Marchesi. Okay, so there we are. Look down on us and facciamo un bel lavoro. Okay. Okay, let's have a look. If this works, it'll be fantastic, and I'll tell you what the secret is. Dora, comincia con Lazzarella. mangiare, faccio tutto per pensare. La sera tu mi dici no, la sera tu mi dici no, ma se non va a se non dà, perché non si è andata a Lazzarella, oggi in ben come molte prove tutte le mattine, fino alla messa sul cuscino, anche la campanella ma la bella come si, te si cerca la mattina qui, questo si fa il discorso, ma di da chiesa Wow, that was lovely. Now, the secret for that was, I think I got it because I restarted the computer and therefore I was able to do this. Okay? So I have to do that earlier. So when you've got problems with your iPhones or, your mobile phones or whatever, and you've got, real problems, technical problems, shut them up and start again. And then they fix themselves up. Let's hope that this is the case here. The second song of the first set of this particular choral improviso program for another Carosone is Mala Femmina, a well-known song written by Totò, of course, and it's a wonderful song. We've done it many times, but this time here follows, of course, Lazzarella. And here we go with Mala Femmina. Here we go with Mala Femmina. Hurry up, Tom. Here we go. Yes. Here we go with Mala Femmina. Quello che ha fatto a me, non mi avesse ucciso, tu lo saprai perché non basta terra, e me ne torna a te, non c'è nessuno per nonna, onesto come me. Femmina, tu si lavora, femmina, chi sporca farti piangere, la infamità. Femmina, se tu pensi una vipera, non posso cantarla, non posso più cantare. Femmina, si giochi come zucchero, questa faccia d'angelo, ti serve per ingannare. Femmina, tu sei più bella, femmina, te voglio bene, voglio, non ti posso scordare. Te voglio ancora bene, ma tu non sai perché non c'è amore, sei stata tu per me, e tu con un capriccio, tu hai distrutto me, ma Dio non ti perdona, perché ha fatto me. Femmina, tu si lavora, femmina, che ciò che fa che piangere, la infamità. Femmina, lasciami la vita, nei vostri catalani, non posso più cantare. Femmina, si gioca come un zucchero, e questa faccia d'angelo, che serve per ingannare. Femmina, tu sei più bella, voglio bene Tonio, non te posso scordare. Wow, so we did that. That came out all right. Now I've got here a choice to make. I'll play the next song and then I will read that piece of Italo-Australian because I've got the time. So, but I don't want to break the actual our actual songs. So here was the third one. Here we go. Okay, there we go. This is the third one. Oop. This is the second set of the 6 songs that we're doing today. Well, it's actually the first, it's part of that first one. I'm making a mistake here. Okay. Yeah. And the next song will be Come facette mamma. Yes. Come facette mamma, and then we'll go to the other one. Okay, let's go. Dora, come facette mamma. Come facette mamma da osaccia meglio te. Well, those are the 3 songs for today, and I have 3 more next week, and we'll be able to say that the Coro all'Improviso Renato Carosone's special will be completed, and then let's hope that it will be close to Christmas, and we'll be able to concentrate ourselves on that particular 43. Just one second, and I'm trying to find it. Here we go. Italo-Australian Wedding. From when I arrived in Australia in 1963, I have often experienced the celebration of an Italo-Australian wedding. I have been invited, I have gone to church, I have been to the celebration party in some hall or restaurant, both in the city and in the country. Welcome to Angela Imela. I have also worked in the kitchen as a chef assistant, then in the reception room as a waiter or head waiter, and finally I have even worked as a master of ceremonies for a quarter of a century. What I have liked the most from this positive weekend experience has been the atmosphere that was created before, during and after the day of celebration with family members, relatives and friends, in my case, even with those people who worked for the guests to prepare and then serve them dinner to regulate the evening following a well-defined program which has then not changed much during all these years. The formula of the Italo-Australian wedding is recognised from the fact that the families with relatives and friends celebrate the couple united in holy matrimony. They also enjoy themselves with dinner, music, dance, the cutting of the ribbon and the cake, the toasts with the saying of they are a jolly good couple, and then the official dance, be it the traditional waltz or a musical piece chosen by the couple. There was also the telegrams, the presentation of flowers and gifts to the best men and matron of honour, groomsmen and bridesmaids, flower girl and page boy and the parents. No one is in fact left out, or so it was, for a long time. Now, with the second and third generations of the children of Italian immigrants, we begin to see a little more diverse approach. At times, this celebration can be simple or extravagant, but the basic principle of celebrating holy matrimony has remained. For this reason, I have wanted to include in this second volume of Poetry, My Friend, something different, but with a typical spirit of our life here in Australia. The poetical story of a car trip from the city of Melbourne to Swan Hill, a town in the northwest state of Victoria. How many times the now dearly departed Joe Maggio, a cordial and sociable personality, called me to be master of ceremonies to so many couples who were getting married. I'll always remember with affection his welcome and the very civil way in which he used to address everyone. I also dedicated this poetic journey to my young niece Maria Angerami, who observed my writing in the car during the trip whilst her mum was half asleep and her dad was driving. So we're going to enjoy a few poems next week and the week after. Okay, now that's 12:31. We just finished, and I'm glad to say that that I was able to resolve the issue on the computer. And the way to do it, when you've got a problem such as mine, where the recording is not coming through, all you have to do is switch off the computer and wait a little bit and turn it on again, and then the problem gets resolved. On that note, it's a good note. Thank you very much for coming on. If you haven't, you'll be able to do so during the week, and of course, by extension to the other platforms. Okay, this is Tom Padula from TomPadulaTV on YouTube and Insegna Booksellers, wishing you a very good Sunday and the rest of the week. Ciao.